Hey guys, it's GamerStolen1000, and today I'm here to analyze some questions from Breath of the Wild, look into the story, what could we possibly find. I'm gonna also look at possible, things they've just put in. I'd like to find out where this game might be set on the timeline from information we have from E3, and where it's located. Is it located in a location of other games? I'm gonna be comparing it to Ocarina of Time that way, because there is actually a resemblance in some of the areas of the map. So, let's get into it. Alright guys, to find out what Link's purpose is, we have to dig into what E3 has shown us at the introduction. So, starting off, Link has to wake up from his deep slumber that in the Sheikah Temple that he stayed in, and Zelda later tells him that he must help Hyrule again and defeat the darkness. Now, in the E3 demo, we know that they have removed most NPCs and villages, so we're not going to get a really deep look into the story, other than the one old man that they do visit at some point in this first demonstration of the introduction of Breath of the Wild. Alright guys, now we need to find out what's threatening Hyrule. At this point, Zelda mentions to Link that he needs to help Hyrule again. There is an evil that is threatening to destroy Hyrule again. So, who is this? Well, let's take a look at this little clip right here. So, as we can see, there's sort of like an evil monster that looks like it's corrupting Hyrule. Not to mention, there are a bunch of corrupted Sheikah Guardians that I have seen and noticed in the trailer that Link has actually hid from at one point in the trailer, which could definitely mean that could be our enemy. And the look of surprise on Link's face when he was looking over towards Hyrule Castle, and we saw that the monster was there, that makes me think that that looks like our new threat in this game, because it's not just an open world where you do nothing. There's probably some sort of story that's stringing you along. Alright guys, now according to the old man, the Great Plateau is, according to legend, the birthplace of the entire kingdom of Hyrule, which means this story will most likely be placed after Skyward Sword, because that's when both Zelda and Link came down to form Hyrule. And here we get a look over at the Temple of Time, which is a confirmed location. So basically, this is telling us that this world is going to be set in the same place that Ocarina of Time was set and anywhere else Hyrule Castle was, because this is in Hyrule. This is not Hyrule. So I'm just pointing this out. Here in this location in E3 that they're entering, it is clearly stated that the area Link is entering is the Temple of Time. Now, I'm not going to get really detailed into the whole timeline thing, because I myself, I didn't look at videos about it, and I don't have a great understanding of it, and I don't really feel like getting into all the complex stuff. But so far, it's looking to be that Breath of the Wild will be in front of the events of Skyward Sword, Ocarina of Time, Four Swords, and the Minish Cap, because the Temple of the Time looked too withered and old and overgrown. So I'm assuming that Breath of the Wild would be placed after Ocarina of Time, and since Zelda and Link on Skyloft went down to establish the Kingdom of Hyrule, it would make sense that this game would be after Skyward Sword, and Minish Cap and Four Swords, and all the games within the generation of Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time. But I can't really make any estimates about in front of Ocarina of Time, like Revival of Ganon, whatever it might be possibly classified as. I'm just not going to get into that because I'm not really good at that sort of stuff. So this is what I'm thinking for its timeline placement. Alright guys, before I move on, just one more little thing to mention about the timeline thing. Here's this clip about the Master Sword. It's supposed to look withered, and I think that's for a reason. The developers are hinting at us that this game is supposed to, even the area around the Master Sword. I think the idea is the Master Sword would still be inside of the Temple of Time, but it's all overgrown and stuff. So they're trying to give us an idea that this game's going to be set in the future. To examine the possibilities for the adult timeline. Could Breath of the Wild fit in there? I'm thinking no, but let's start off. Starting off with Wind Waker, let's examine some of the details between the two, like looking through trailer and E3. Alright guys, here in Wind Waker we have Ganondorf, and the Master Sword at the end of the game is stuck in Ganon's head, not a pedestal, so it wouldn't make sense for this game to be after, because you never see the Master Sword in any of the other games in the adult era, so it wouldn't make sense for this game to be after Wind Waker. I don't have enough evidence to say it could be before Wind Waker, so I'm not gonna continue with the adult era. Now it's time to examine the child era and see where could this game possibly correspond, if it could correspond at all. Alright guys, it's time to start comparing Breath of the Wild to Twilight Princess, which I want to look at first because I found a couple similarities. Guys, this first similarity here is Elden Bridge and the bridge we have seen in the trailer. They both have water under them, except in Breath of the Wild, the trailer, the bridge looks more intact than the structure of Elden Bridge. So if this game was to be placed in the child era, it would seem that Breath of the Wild would be before Twilight Princess, yet they would be set in the same world. You can see more nature in Breath of the Wild, and less nature in Twilight Princess, so that's what I'm just thinking for this part. Now, the one problem with Breath of the Wild being in the child era is that the Master Sword is not in the same location in Breath of the Wild as in Twilight Princess, so we're gonna go over and look at our final era. Now let's address something about Breath of the Wild. In the location in the trailer, we have seen there is a beach. Where else is there a beach? Wind Waker has a beach, but we figured out it won't be in the adult era. So what about the child era? The child era has no beaches in any of its games. But in the era we're examining now, Link's Awakening does have a beach. So that's a physical coincidence. Now let's look for the physical appearance, and the first thing I notice is that Link from Link's Awakening and this Link both have sideburns. But we have a problem. The characters from The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, and The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening all share the same physical features. But the special thing about the character from A Link to the Past is the swords were both in the same location. Now, I know that was the same for A Link Between Worlds, but we're going to go for Link to the Past because there was a special key element in the beginning that gives us a hint. Something seemed familiar. At the beginning of A Link to the Past, a mysterious voice wakes up Link, and the same thing happens in Breath of the Wild. Now, we know that this Link is a previous Link that we've known before, because he's waking up again, and looking at the choices, it seems to be leaning towards it being a Link to the Past Link. But since this is in the future, where is it in front of Zelda 1 and Zelda 2? Well, we need to look around for keys. Possibly, what era might this be in? Let's take a hint from the old man, since he's the only NPC we get to see in the trailer. Since the decline of the kingdom, it is now abandoned. So the Temple of Time used to be used in Ocarina of Time, but now it is abandoned, and Hyrule is a ghost of its former self. So basically, the idea is this game is set in the era of decline. Alright guys, it's time to look back at what we've gotten from trailer and E3 and look at what I've went over in this video and figure out one of the biggest questions about this game, which E3 demonstrators went as far as to remove NPCs and not even look near villages and limit the demo to an area where there aren't any villages. So starting this off, Link is starting in a Sheikah Temple area, and it says that he is a former Link that was active and he has slept for a long time, but now he needs to return to Hyrule to defeat the new threat. He then goes on to talk to an old man after following his Sheikah Slate, which is the new item he gains, which will be probably most likely used throughout his journey. Now, E3 demo hints at him using the Sheikah Stone, the Sheikah Slate, to traverse the area and hint him around and show him where to go. He's not fully controlled, but he is able to roam around sort of freely, and the Sheikah Slate will guide him through what he needs to do to progress further forward in the game, and that's all we really have now. I'm not going to go detail on the whole story part, so sorry about that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye!